Here I'll quickly show how I do hand cutting of cane. So first let's have a look at the different kinds of tile nippers that are available. This type here, with the extra pivot action, provides a lot of pressure, but the movement is very slow. So these are useless for cane cutting. They don't deliver a fast enough response. These ones here are pretty much all that's available now in tool stores, and you can see the difference between this one and this one. This one, the metal is much thicker and chunkier. These are the offshore knockoffs. And the carbide is not at a very steep angle, and it wears down really quickly. So that's not an option either. And this one here, these are very difficult to use, especially the method that I use for hand cutting. So this is not an option either. This one here, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever discovered. These are made in the 70s and 80s, and I buy them used on eBay for like $10 or $12, and they never need sharpening. They're very good quality, and they just seem to last forever. But I do a modification to them to make them more usable. The first thing I do is take the spring out. It's totally unnecessary, and it impedes the ability to do very quick snaps when it's got a spring in there fighting against your hand action. The next thing I do is I take a piece of foam weather stripping tape and I put it on the handles to make the handles softer, because I don't want that vibration traveling up into my wrists and giving me carpal tunnel syndrome. There. So I'll just tape those on there like that. And then I take a piece of inner tube rubber, just a little piece of inner tube rubber, and I tape that around these 2 points here, because that clicking sound actually sends a vibration up the tool, which can also give you carpal tunnel syndrome. There, now they're completely silent and there's no vibration. So I'm going to take some black electrical tape and I'm going to wrap the entire handle all the way down to cover my weather stripping foam here. And something else I do too, if they're a bit stiff, I'll put it in a vise and I'll get in here with a wood chisel I don't care about and whack it a bunch of times with a hammer to loosen up that stud. It's very important that it moves freely. These ones here I've had since 1996, and it's super loose. These are actually still my favorite pair. These are beautiful dichroic vitrigraph canes I made a couple of years ago, so I'll be chopping these up. So I use a beer can flat and I place a piece of screen on top. This handy screen is in a little frame for a short window. And I rest the cutter on the edge of the screen frame like this. So I hold the cane in my left hand, and I use this finger here to hold against this edge of the cutter, and I use my other fingers to move the cane up till I get the portion that I'd like to cut off. And I hold the cutter like this, so these 2 fingers here close the cutter and these 2 fingers, or this finger, opens the cutter. And the speed is what matters. The faster that I can close this cutter, the cleaner the cut. So as you can see, it's very fast. In a matter of seconds I've got 20 pieces, and the dust falls through the screen and winds up in the box below. So I've got nice clean pieces that don't have any contamination on them. And here's that dichro cane in one of these fused dishes. You can just see the little sparkles, the little hints of dichro in the canes. But this is more typically what I make, is opaque things, or things that have much less light transmission. So I started snipping and fusing cane pieces in 1996, and I estimate that I've sawn, snipped, or chopped 750,000 pieces for fusing over the years. This picture here is from 2022, and this picture here is from 2018. I did a rough count that year. There was 24,000 cane pieces fused to make those dishes. So out of all the different methods that I've tried for hand snipping, the one that I just showed is the best one that I've found so far. And back in the late 90s I did develop carpal tunnel syndrome because my tool was clanky and had a lot of vibration. So it's actually the best possible tool is the one I'm using now, and I have for over 20 years. So on my Patreon page there's about 150 glass videos, and several of them cover the design and building of vitrigraph kilns and using vitrigraph kilns and building complex vitrigraph canes, and of course this type of mosaic fusing, and lots of other topics. Here's the link.